Start us off.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's service. Today is Sunday, January 23rd. Brother Sam is going to be speaking to us today. And so glad you're here, wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, we have people from Finland, from Russia, watching us. I'm okay with that. So let's thank you for being here. We're going to start off with our land acknowledgement. I think all this goes well and you're seeing well. So
Wonderful. Before we even get into the land acknowledgement, I just want to take this time to welcome us all to just take a moment and take a deep breath together. Maybe breathe together for a moment. May the breath that we take together as a community just lessen the distance, be it physical distance, emotional distance, mental distance. May our inhalation connect us. May we take a moment to feel our bodies in whatever way that is. How do you feel in your body? If you're feeling anxious, let that be. Just acknowledge that it's there. If you're feeling joyful, that's wonderful. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge that it's there. And in this spirit, may we now extend this physical camaraderie to actual land. Wanting to acknowledge, as I do every week, the earth, air, fire, and water of our bodies, and how that meets the earth, air, fire, and water of our environments. And in this spirit, I want to acknowledge the unceded land and territory of the Cheyenne, Ute, and Arapaho people. And taking a moment, wherever you are in the world, to remember the indigenous wisdom. Remember the first people of the earth, air, fire, and water, where you are. And in the spirit of connecting to that knowing, I light a candle in honor of their memory. I'm also going to, as you've seen, light the Yule candle, bringing that light that we have started to collect at Yule into Imbolc, which is in what, another week or so. Lighting the spirit candle, taking a moment to remember those ancestors of blood and ancestors of spirit who walk with us in a spiritual way, who we feel a connection with, a tether that goes beyond physical distance, acknowledging those. And may this land acknowledgement, may the acknowledgement of our own bodies, and may the acknowledgement of our ancestors of spirit and of blood make a demarcation in time. We enter sacred time with these acknowledgements.
I have Jenna picked out several readings. I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to go with, but there's some important ones. But so there were two significant people that passed recently. One, of course, was Desmond Tutu, and the other one was just this week, Thich Nhat Hanh, which are voices. So I was kind of moved by that, and so I have these two readings, and you can read whichever one you want. This one from Thich Nhat Hanh on how to love, and this one from Desmond Tutu on love. Whichever one moves your heart. Yeah.
Loving kindness. The first element of true love is loving kindness. The essence of loving kindness is being able to offer happiness. You can be the sunshine for another person. You can't offer happiness until you have it for yourself. So build a home inside by accepting yourself and learning to love and heal yourself. Learn how to practice mindfulness in such a way that you can create moments of happiness and joy for your own nourishment. Then you have something to offer the other person. The greatest gift, one of the greatest gifts we can offer people, is to embody non-attachment and non-fear. This is a true teaching, more precious than money or material resources. Many of us are very afraid, and this fear distorts our lives and makes us unhappy. We cling to objects and to people like a drowning person clings to a floating log. Practicing to realize non-discrimination, to see the interconnectedness and impermanence of all things, and to share this wisdom with others, we are giving the gift of non-fear. Everything is impermanent. This moment passes, that person walks away, happiness is still possible.
I was moved this week because of passing one of my elders. Really moved my heart, and it was just one of those things this week. And I got so busy, kind of like just so busy, and I wanted to sit and reflect on that when these important voices are gone out of my life. And then I was thinking about Desmond Tutu passing, and then Thich Nhat Hanh passing. And then one of my elders, the last of my elders from my ordination, growing up as a young person and working towards ordination and then becoming ordained, the last of it was gone. And it was kind of overwhelming to me because I felt like, how do I dwell on that? How do I focus on that? And then this would come up, and that would come up. Those voices are so important to us. And it really kind of disturbed me that I couldn't take that moment and think about their influence and how important they are in my life. But I thought about other voices that thought about those that passed. But the one thing that came to my mind was thinking about how the voices they were in this chaotic world. Thich Nhat Hanh, of course, Desmond Tutu, my elder John Warfield, also himself was a police chaplain and then a pastor and an elder, and he was just had such this profound impact on my life. I was thinking about when I was sitting through my ordination counseling, and he grilled me and he grilled me and he grilled me about every aspect. And of course, to evangelicals, having your ducks in a row is important theologically. Every aspect and every step of the way just right. It's the right words. And so I always appreciated that. Even though I've deconstructed most of that over the years, but I always appreciated that emphasis. But one of the things he always really encouraged me to understand was the value of love. He had a ministry in Pennsylvania, York, Pennsylvania. And he was very involved with gang members and drug addicts and people that had come off the streets. And he just had this passion for loving unlovable people. And he instilled that into my heart. So I was thinking this week, when thinking of Thich Nhat Hanh passing, these important voices passing, and how we handle that. And I read a quote from Rumi that stood out in my mind. If the house of the world is dark, love will find a way to create windows. And we live in a confused world. It's confusing. it's out of control. I'm kind of like you were talking about social media. I wind up getting involved in going down these, I call them YouTube rabbit holes. And so sometimes it's watching all the Karens, all the angry people, angry about this person parked where they weren't supposed to be, or they shouldn't live here. And you just go, wow, are people this angry? Did they just get that angry? Or have they always been that angry? But now that we have a phone, we can all hold up and record those angry moments that people have. People are being thrown off of airplanes because they're angry and just crazy things. So I started to think about the darkness, the dark world we live in. And I don't want to dwell on that because I don't think we should dwell on the darkness. Jesus put it this way when it comes about love. Love God with all you've got. Love God with everything you've got. Here's this Jewish rabbi, this itinerant Jewish rabbi said to the world around him that he was speaking to. Love God with all that you've got in you. Your heart, your soul, your mind, your strength. But he didn't just stop there, because what happened in his day, those religious scholars and leaders and Pharisees and legalists of his day stopped there because they were so wrapped up in how to love God, following all the rules, and then creating more rules on top of rules on top of rules, and they just became legalistic. But he said, love God with all of your heart, your soul, your mind, your strength. And love your neighbor as yourself. It's such a simple truth, and we've forgotten that. I like the rules, and I've said this before. I like my box. If you give me a box, I'm so used to my box. I've grown up in that box, and somebody was talking this week, and I can speak that language. I understand that language, but I don't live in that box anymore. But I understand the box. So the simple message to me was this: love God with all you've got, and love people. So love people, and that's what we're forgetting. Love your neighbor. Who is my neighbor? The one who lives near you or is in need. Some person that touches your heart. I have a neighbor, and I've used this story before, this illustration. He's not an illustration, he's an actual person. And he's a very weird neighbor. One day I came out, he built this giant teepee in his backyard. I was like, why would somebody build a teepee in his backyard? But I never took the time to go and say, hey, Paul, why are you building a teepee in your backyard? I just looked at him and went, what a weird guy. But maybe there's something I didn't know about him. Maybe he's Native American. Maybe there's something, but I was looking at him across the fence, across my yard, and went, what a weird guy. Love my enemies. This is what we see when we get into social media and we're looking at all these angry people. We forgot how to love our enemies. And the truth is, and this is something that Desmond Tutu had a passion for, was the best way to destroy your enemy is not guns, is not battles, is not fighting, but it was to love your enemy and turn them into a friend. Love your family. You love your family best when you love God. Most importantly, to learn how to love one another. Love us in the midst of our quirkiness, in the midst of our struggles, in the midst of our failings, in the midst of our humanity and our humanness. Learning how to just love each other. We forgot how to do that. Jesus gave us a simple command to love one another. Doesn't mean that we don't love people who don't believe like we do, love like we do, look like we do. But it means to, what it was communicating in that message, it was such a message of permanence, of completeness, is to love people, love our neighbors, love everyone, always. Always. Even when my neighbor has a teepee in his backyard, to love my neighbor, who's strange. But to love somebody always. To love our neighbors regardless of what color they are, what religion they are, their age, their political affiliation. We are so divided over that. Even when they like music that we don't like. I was sharing with Jim this morning about one of my old friends from a long time ago. We played musical. We played in a band together, a marching band and an orchestra. He stayed with it. I quit after my first year of college, and I started when I was 8 years old. And he became a famous jazz musician, and I didn't. And I was better than him. If Paul's watching this, he knows that. Loving each other, even if they are more talented than you are, more skilled than you are, more have greater abilities and greater influence than we are, greater educations than we do. We're told repeatedly by different faiths and different religions and different peoples, we're told to love each other. We're told to love those that are, and that's one of the things about Amazing Love Sanctuaries. I want us to be a group of people that love each other in the journey that we're all taking. Our faith journey, whatever that journey is, still love each other. Love one another. Jesus gave us that command, love one another as I have loved you. This is how everybody will know that you are my followers, if you love each other. And one of the biggest issues we have in faith communities is we define our ability to love each other based on who believes like I do. So a few weeks ago when I was participating in a funeral at another church, and the minister came up to me and said, "What community do you belong to?" And that was a weird question to me, but I had to figure it out a little bit. I was like, "Oh." I told him what I did. He was like, "Oh." He was almost disappointed that I wasn't of that same, but loving each other, regardless of their family, regardless of their community, regardless of their belief system, regardless. We learn that in all of our little books here, our books in our little library about loving other people. Learning how to love. Learning how to find people. And there's learning how to love people to the end, the very end. One of the Greek word translated here in this love is to love them to the fullest. That's the hardest part. Because my humanity, in my own humanness, I want to love people based on what we have in common, what we look like, how we talk, how we believe, how we love, and we want to limit it to that. And Jesus showed the full extent of his love for his disciples by doing something so simple. And he didn't do very much. And that was washing their feet. I'm not going to wash your face. I'll give you a warning when I do that. I have done that. So, but I'll let you know. Next week we're going to wash feet. No, we're not. But it was learning how to love somebody to that point where you become their servant. You give up your place at the table or the chair, or you give up yourself to do something as humbling as washing someone's feet. A lot of religious leaders do that. Wash feet. Pope does that every year with Muslims. Pope John Paul did that to the man who was attempting to assassinate him. But to pick up that basin of water, to hold it and say, I'm going to wash their feet, is something so humbling. For a number of years, I managed a men's clothing store. And so I had a salesman who, one of the things that we did all the time was we sold, you added to the sale, somebody came in and buy a suit, you sell a shirt and tie, and sell a belt, and sell shoes. So we trained our salesmen to bring out 3 pairs of shoes to try them on with that, whatever suit. Women love to buy shoes, so it's pretty easy for somebody to sell women's shoes because we bring out all the shoes. But for men, it was, a guy will walk around with holes in his shoes and not even think twice about it. But I remember this salesman who could not sell shoes because he was so grossed out by feet, even though they were in socks, and he couldn't do it. And I would just get so frustrated because he just couldn't sell shoes. And I don't know what it was, but there was something he couldn't humble himself. I thought, just humble yourself. Just you're going to make more money if you make more commission usage. But there's something about washing someone's feet, and in those times, in those moments when I've experienced that, it's taking that person's feet and with care and love and compassion, gently taking that person's feet and washing them and drying them is a powerful moment. It's a powerful moment. And Jesus did that. And he washed their feet. And many holy people, many spiritual leaders have practiced that because it's unique. Peter, in that story in the Gospels, wasn't going to have that. He was not going to have this moment of Jesus washing his feet. And he said to Jesus in the story, "You're not going to wash my feet." And Jesus said, "Unless I wash your feet, you aren't going to be a part of me." There's something really profound in that statement because in that moment, in that thought, and I don't know what the dialogue was, and I think that's one of the things that are very incomplete about the Gospels. We don't see the whole story. We don't see Peter's pride. We don't see Peter's experience, how he processed that. But in the discussion, he got done and he said, "Don't just wash my feet, wash my hands, head, wash all of them." And I think there's something that happens in us when we learn to express love. And it humbles us. True love never exalts us above someone else. It always humbles us. It always reminds us of who I am, who we are. It always reminds us that we're the same. It always reminds us that we are unique. And when we do this to love somebody, it's saying, "What can I do for you?" A couple of weeks ago, there's a lady by when I leave, when I come down, get on Hamilton from my house on Sheridan. And there's always a homeless woman there. She's about as rough looking as you can get. And every once in a while, I'll have some money and I'll give it to her. Then I was at King Supers the other day, and she was in line in front of me, checking at the checkout for herself. And she opened up the purse and she pulled out a debit card and bought chicken, roasted chicken, and I found myself there. I was judging her. She's buying a roasted chicken, and I was robbing her of that right to have a roasted chicken. It wasn't like her, it wasn't like she was buying a a Tiffany piece of jewelry. She was buying a roasted chicken, and she used a debit card. And I got in my car and was like, shame on me. She just was having a chicken. And I don't care how she paid for it. I don't know what, it wasn't a American Express black card, I'm sure. Maybe somebody, and I thought, maybe somebody gave her a gift card or something. She bought a chicken. I like roasted chicken. When we love each other, we never think unkindly of the blessings that somebody else has received. I thought I should rejoice with her that she, maybe for the first time, had a roasted chicken. We take it for granted. So I can go down and keep some roasted chicken. I found a couple of things. One was by Sherry Everett. That just really was profound to me this week. She wrote, "Be that one. That one who forgives when deep offense has been committed. That one who loves when no one else does. That one who gives kindness to those who are. Be that one who looks past the insult, instead seeing the pain that motivated. That one who shines light upon those who sit in utter darkness. Because the impact of being that one runs far and wide. It brings healing to the wounded, joy to the sad, and hope to those in despair. Be that one." And I was not being that one. I was being that judgmental person that said, I was really, what I was saying in my heart was, you don't deserve a roasted chicken from King Soopers. I do. What if that was the chicken that I wanted? There wasn't another one. I could have been better than that. He can be better. What about my enemies? What about the ones that offended me? What about the ones that really rubbed me the wrong way? What about the ones that have done me bad? Well, Jesus gave us the perfect thing, the perfect way to deal with our enemies. Love your enemies. Be good to those that hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Pray for the lady who got her roasted chicken. Be a better person. I was thinking of this reading I had that I quote from Desmond Tutu. We read this. I have heard and seen many examples of cruelty that we are able to visit on one another during the time. I've also seen incredible forgiveness and compassion. Yes, each of us has the capacity for great evil. But for every act of evil, there are a dozen acts of goodness in our world that go unnoticed. It's only because we believe that people should be good that we despair when they're not. Indeed, if people condoned the evil, we would be justified in this. But most of the world does not. We know that we are meant for better. I'm moved because what do we do with this? how do we find love in this dark world? And the answer is us. It's you and I. It's what we do. It's how we treat the other person. It just dawned on me. I should have bought her chicken. I should have bought it for her. And we forget those simple acts of love, kindness, grace, goodness. These are the lessons that we get from these voices that are gone from Desmond Tutu, from Thich Nhat Hanh. These are the voices that speak into our heart and in our lives, and we forget because we're so wrapped up in ours. I'm so wrapped up in myself, and running from here to there, and doing this and doing that. We're all like that. We can all sit, and I do it. Wow, busy week. Forget those simple acts of goodness, simple acts of love, and grace. So I want us to, I'm going to have Jenna read a prayer, a very famous prayer. Probably all said it. And prayer of St. Francis. And if we could open our hands to receive this prayer, to say this prayer, to listen to this prayer, this will change our lives.
Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Grant that I may seek not so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal
A beautiful prayer.
life. So simple.
So simple. So difficult. We have a communion. Let's have communion together. Let's do that.
One thing that came up for me as you were talking about darkness is that, in my perspective, darkness is not the absence of goodness. It is a time of fertility. And so for me, whenever I think of like this dark light dichotomy, I like to think of it as that which is ready to be birthed and that which needs just a little bit more tender nurturing. And I like that so much more because it gets us out of this tension of us versus them, good versus evil, and puts it into something a little bit more practical.
I think that's a good lesson to learn. And, we're still in kind of a dark time. It gets dark. We learn to, we actually physically learn to live in that darkness. Yeah. We learn to. So, and we go through the kind of the same frustration, I think, when daylight savings time comes and all of a sudden it's like, is it going to get dark? I'm tired. I want the darkness. I think our body needs that, our mind needs that, our soul needs that. And so that's a good lesson to learn. I think from my Christian perspective, we always look at the darkness as this awful thing. It's us versus them. Yet it's in those quiet times, those dark times, for me, I guess I've learned that God's voice speaks clearly. This is the bread. Simple bread. I'm learning to appreciate bread so much more since I can't have it very often. And I think how wonderful it is. And there's a couple times I've stopped at a fast food place and Kentucky Fried Chicken. And all I've done is order a biscuit, just so I can have a piece of that bread. And it's so good. This is a piece of that great bread that brings us all together. We share together, we grow together, we eat together. And we're reminded of the body that was broken. We're reminded of people that are invested in this. And we share this bread together. We share it with each other. I share it with you. I share it with you. We share it with all those around the world who gather at a table and share bread. Who gather in a church, synagogue, or a mosque, or a temple, and share together. We share together. Let's share.
This is my body, made of the stuff of the cosmos. This is my blood, made of the miraculous stuff of the universe. Made manifest in the grape and the water, the seeds, in the thoughts and prayers and hopes and dreams of those who cultivated this. Everything being paying much attention to, everything and everyone that made this little container possible. And thinking about love, thinking about Jesus actually talking about love at the Last Supper, and love was looking at Judas, knowing that there was going to be betrayal, and so often this. And so it's in that spirit that I invite us to drink of this, the cup of life of blood.
I had one more prayer I was going to have. It was a closing prayer that I had beside St. Francis from the Bhagavad Gita. And because we talk so much about love, it's a powerful thing. It's life-changing. Somebody says, I love you, it is life-changing. And we all know in our heart when somebody says, I love you, and it's superficial, it's not real, it's not genuine. When you experience true love, it's life-changing. It changes your heart, it changes your mind. Some people spend a lifetime waiting for that love. It's written in another sacred scripture in the Bhagavad Gita. He who has let go of hatred, who treats all beings with kindness and compassion, who is always calm and peaceful, unmoved by pain or pleasure, free of the I and mine, self-controlled, firm, and patient, his whole mind focused on me. This is the man or woman I love best. So profound. You have to almost sit and go, okay, I got to think about that. because we are consumed with the I, the me, what's mine, what belongs to me. We're consumed with that. How do we let go of selfishness, hatred? It's with love. I don't have the answers, and I struggle with finding love and compassion like all of us every way. But my prayer, my hope, my words are that we would all discover love. Profound.
I'm going to jump in now and
Yes.
blow the candles forward. So those of you who are joining from home, please join me in blowing these candles forward. Those of us who are present, please join me in blowing these candles forward, offering up one prayer. Father, Mother, God, creator of all things, of all thought, of all matter, hear us as we come together as a community tethered by technology and in real time. Be with us as we try to integrate that which we heard and felt today in our bones into our everyday waking lives. Show us the moments where we can deepen more into love. Show us the moments where we may even feel anxious about receiving love. That's real. Be with us in our human journeys, and be with all of you in the distance, and be with me as I blow these candles forward into our next time together. This is a demarcation of time and space. Love and gratitude. Love and gratitude to the ancestors of blood and spirit who have joined us in this message. The ancestors and I just want to say Thich Nhat Hanh and Desmond Tutu, who are now ancestors of spirit. Thank you. Go in peace. Until next time.